grab your big book, your pen, your highlighter, and notepad and get ready to hear and apply some of the solution from the Big Book of Alcoholics Anonymous through the experience, strength, and hope of Nikki M. To have a question addressed in a future episode of Noodle It Out with Nikki, please send an email to noodlewithnikki@gmail.com, and Nikki is spelled with 2 Ks. To get a more interactive experience with Nikki as she noodles out life and recovery questions using the Big Book of Alcoholics Anonymous, you can get a link to her weekly Noodle It Out with Nikki meeting held live on Zoom every Monday morning at 9 o'clock Eastern Time. The information to that meeting is in the show notes of this podcast. God morning, God afternoon, and God evening to all. I'm Justin B. I am a son of an all-powerful and perfectly loving God and a qualifying addict of multiple fellowships, living in the miracle of recovery one day at a time. And I'm here with the intelligent agent, spearhead of God's ever-advancing creation, and my co-host, Nikki M. Nikki, it's been a full morning already. Come talk to us and tell us a little bit about what's going on in your life.
Well, it has been. Hi, everybody. I'm Nikki M. I'm a grateful member of this fellowship and many others. I'm, according to my big book, I like to speak, the truth. And the truth is I'm an intelligent agent spearhead of God's ever-advancing creation. See, I'm seeing a lot of people programmed. It's if you're listening to this recording, maybe at a later date, it's like March 2nd, 2026. And so we're just in the most exciting time, if you ask me. There's nothing new under the sun here, Justin. The wars, the crimes, the people, the ups, the downs, the ins and outs, the love, the hate, nothing new under the sun. I'm just excited to be awake and learning how to navigate it. And that's what we do here today. So I'm excited to see what we're going to talk about. Thanks, Justin.
Yeah, thank you, Nikki. And yeah, it is an exciting time and an adventurous time to be alive and to be awake and to have our eyes open to what's happening in the world and see what will come of this. It's all exciting and adventure. All right, everybody out there who may be new to the Noodle It Out with Nikki podcast. What this is we take everyday questions from recovery, whether it be in our own work with our sponsees, whether it be in people we just talk to in fellowship, whether it be in our own lives, so questions from our own experience, to the big book. And Nikki takes us through the big book and helps us find answers to pretty much any question we could ever come across in our life. And just grateful for that. And this is part of the RICO 12 family of recovery resources. You can check out other podcasts and things we've got going on in our social communities and social media outlets and things like that, which, by the way, I'm really poor at updating all of the social media stuff. If there's a social media expert out there that wants to do some service, hit us up. Send me an email at rico12pod@gmail.com. That's RECO12pod@gmail.com. And let's talk about it and see if you're somebody who would like to do some service and help us with this social media thing that I am just not great at. All right, let's jump into our question today, Nikki. I'm really excited about this one. I hear it a lot from a lot of different people, and I saw it referenced a little bit in the Noodle chat earlier this week. So here's the question that I'm going to give you. I'm working my program, I'm sober, and I'm seeing many of the promises in my life, but I often remember my shameful past, and I get stuck in feelings of regret. I don't feel I deserve to live happy, joyous, and free because of the awful things that I've done. Nikki, what does the book say?
Wow. We could have wrote that, Justin? We could have wrote that. I mean, anybody listening, that's you, that's me, that's our brother Justin, that's all of us. We're working the program. What program? AA, Nikki, essay, it doesn't matter. Whatever program you're working, and everyone has a right to be in the rooms. And yes, we do this one day at a time. And when you do that, you do get the promises, and the promises are amazing. God will do for you perfect peace and ease alone, recoil from whatever it is that's, eating your soul like a hot flame. You'll recoil from it. These are huge promises. But then our friend, and I know, and I get here too, Justin, you can be here one day, you could be here 20 years, and this will happen because it's a one day at a time program. but I'm often reminded. See, this all centers in our mind. So let's start there. Page 23 says, therefore, the main problem of the addict centers, I'm paraphrasing, centers in their mind. So whatever you're thinking about, if it's not the promises, if it's not what your new assignment is, and your new assignment is to be an agent, remember, you made a daily decision, step 3, to take a sincere position every day. So every day you take this sincere position to be less and less interested in your plans and designs, to be less and less interested in self. So you're, what does it say? I'm reminded. Well, you're not supposed to be reminded of those things, because the big book gives very, very specific instructions about what you're supposed to do. It says, page 86, must not drift. That means your mind, not your body, not your car. I know there's people who love car racing. You drift, you drift into the lanes. I don't know anything about that, Justin, but I know my audience, and there's men out there that are listening. So don't drift out of your lane, which is God. It says must not drift into, and it says morbid reflection, which is regrets. If you go further, it says, you're reminded of your shameful past. My book, and we've gone through this on many podcasts, many episodes, Justin, page 124 says, our past is our greatest asset. And so a lot of that is not the good stuff that we've done. Okay, your past of what? Being at the foot of the bed, Justin, when your beautiful wife popped out a baby. They're not talking about that. They're talking about those awful, dark things we did when we were blotting out our consciousness. So why are you reminding yourself of that when this is an instruction book? Let's go deep too, Justin. This is an instruction book, and the instruction says must not drift. So you don't get to do that anymore. And it says you must believe your book. We've gone over this, and we'll go over it again today. If you don't believe your book, why are you here? There's a lot of people, Justin, who come in here and they don't believe the book. They don't believe what they're reading. They think they don't have to do this stuff. You don't get to drift off into your past. And if you do, it's only to be reminded that you're going to help someone with it. Does that make sense, Justin? Come in, because you're in rooms where these people never want to say what they've done.
Yeah.
And they sometimes have to bring that out. So how do you bring that out without the shame and the guilt and the remorse?
Yeah, for me and my experience with that, and that's a great question, Nikki, is I've got to lead by example and say, you know what? What you've done, I've probably done too. And if I haven't, this guy next to me probably has, or this other person next to me probably has, and we get it. You're in the right place. And then, kind of like what you said, my past can be my greatest asset. A lot of guys that I talk to who are early in the program, and even some who are just been in meetings for a long time and not working it, are super ashamed to say I'm an addict. They think that is denigrating and degrading to them, and just isn't truth. And I'm proud of being an addict, living in one day at a time recovery. And that's how I try and break that shame down, is saying, hey, this is who I am. This is who I have been and what I have done. This is the change that's happened, and this is how it is today. And I have no shame of my past. My darkest past is my greatest asset now. And I try and do that by example. And hopefully that works with some people. Other people, it's like, nah, it just sounds like I'm, yeah, but you don't get where I come from, this terminal uniqueness. So that's kind of how I address that in the rooms that I'm in. Nikki, how do you go about doing it?
Well, I love what you said about the terminal uniqueness. Like, nobody here is, I don't want to say special, because we're all so special. Do you know what I mean? Like, everyone is so special, but we're not so special in that ugly, gross way. Like your dirtiness isn't any more dirty than mine. It may look different, It may act and smell a little different, but it's just the same thing. It's all ugly. It's just dirty. So like when I get stuck in feelings of regret and shame, well, I remember what the book says, because of, like the book says a lot of things. People will go, say for step 9, they'll go, well, the book says we need to go and confess our former ill feelings and express our regret. Now, it's a moral inventory. And that's where a lot of people get scared. Like, it's my moral inventory. It's not an action. So I'm not expressing my actions. I'm expressing my moral regrets. And my moral regrets is that I haven't been a loving friend. I haven't been a responsible partner. I haven't been I've been a selfish mother. You see things like that, because people get stuck on this regret and the details. The details do not matter here. That's the addiction of being addicted to chaos. So, okay, everybody out there, they say, oh, I don't want to be an addict. I don't want to be an alcoholic. Well, what are you addicted to? Because you're addicted to something. There's some people are so proud to say I'm addicted to my purse collection. Well, that, like, not, I just, all addictions, good or bad, are addictions. So don't be afraid to use that word. And I don't feel, I love that word. Like when people go, I don't feel, oh, where I was going with this about being addicted, you're addicted to the chaos. Someone out there is addicted to the story. Someone out there is addicted to the details. And these things just don't matter when you're trying to live a spiritual program, a spiritual existence, a spiritual life. So it says, and the question was, I don't feel I deserve. Now, this is a deep one. In the doctor's opinion, I'm not quite sure the Roman numerals of it, and I can find it in a minute. It says, our addict life is our only normal one. So you've been conditioned, you've been programmed into feeling you don't deserve anything good. I mean, Justin, you and I know this feeling. We've been programmed that we don't deserve this, or we don't deserve that, or that's for those people. That's for that perfect person. I don't deserve that. That's all lies. See, because we're coming in here not to stop drinking, not to stop using porn, not to stop eating sugar. Now, of course, you should not do any of those things if you want to live a spiritual life. But I think the reality of it is, and we need to tell people, you are in here to get a new belief system. You are in here to get a new attitude, and you are in here to get new ideas. Now, you cannot do that while you're addicted to anything but the instructions of how to get free. So you got to get addicted to the instructions of how to get free, because your addict life is your only normal one. You can't differentiate the true from the false, says the doctor's opinion in our big book. So it's normal for you to feel like shit. It's normal for you to feel awful. It's normal for you to feel like you don't deserve anything. And Justin, you work with a lot of people like that, don't you?
I do. And where I almost always turn to is these 9th step promises, bottom of page 83, top of page 84. And I'm just going to scan through a few of those, Nikki, because I experience many of these on a nearly everyday basis. And it's just a beautiful thing. And I'm just going to kind of scan through at the bottom of we will not regret the past nor wish to shut the door on it. We will comprehend the word serenity and we will know peace. If I'm living in regret, I'm in hell. That's not peace. That's not serenity. Now, does that mean that I just bury the past and don't think about it? No, I'm not going to regret it, though, because as I look down here, no matter how far down the scale we've gone, we'll see how our experience can benefit others. If I just bury the past and don't do anything about it, I stopped doing that. I'm now healed. I'm recovered. I don't need to do anything about that, and I'm not benefiting others with it. I'm still living in hell because I'm regretting the past. I'm denying that it's there, and I'm feeling useless and self-pity. But if I'm sharing it with others, that uselessness and self-pity will disappear. I'll lose interest in the selfish things and gain interest in my fellows because I am sharing things with them and encouraging them to do similar things. And I just see how these promises can be, how my past is my greatest asset. That phrase, when I first came into the rooms, and that probably the first few times I heard it, I was like, bullcrap. How is that even possible? And now I look at it and I'm like, look at the good that I'm doing and that others are doing in the same light by being willing to say, yeah, me too. And guess what? There's a way out. Let's walk. It's a beautiful thing. Nikki, any other thoughts on that?
I'm just smiling because it's true. Like, my dark past has helped so many people. You and I could drop dead tomorrow and I'm okay with it. Like, especially thank you, Justin, for recording this stuff, because it's like, I cannot believe how much I help people with the ugly things I've done. Now, you guys know I like to scroll. I'm into 2-minute shorts or even 30 seconds because I've got the mind of a monkey right now, of a squirrel. They've just made me silly with this, with the smartphone. I have quotes, really the stupid phone. And this guy was talking, so I'm going to do it to Justin. I'm like, he said to the top person he was talking to, he said, do you remember who the richest guy was in 1793? Do you remember who he was, Justin? No. Justin's shaking. Nope, Justin doesn't know. And guess what? Neither do I. That's how much it matters. We don't matter that much. No one's going to, like, that was the point of it was, I don't think I'm saying it right. It's like retelling a joke. I always mess it up, but it was like, exactly. No one on the planet Earth remembers who was the richest guy in 1793. So let's just zoom out a little bit. Is anyone going to care what Justin B and Nikki M did in, let's just go for 2091. Let's go to 3011. Let's just say it's the year 3011. Is anyone going to give a shit about what you did and what I did? So do you understand do you see how silly? I use the word silly. I want to go harder on some words here, but it is so silly for us to be thinking about these things. It doesn't matter. At the end of the day, none of this matters. When you're laying on your deathbed, the only thing people, and I've heard this, the regrets, Google that, you guys, the things people think about on their deathbeds. Nurses have written it down. There's all these little, clips out there. See what they're thinking about. And it's not these things. It's not these regrets. It's not the Bugatti. It's not the things there. It's the people and those sweet memories. It's never these awful things people are thinking about. Like, we as a society have got to reprogram everything. And I don't know where to start with that, Justin. I just don't know where we go, because that's a big topic for a big day. Like, they just had the World Economic Forum, and where they all meet in Davos and they get together to talk about climate change and food and all these things but if I'd like to see a forum get together and just talk about, how are we just going to love each other? Like, plain and simple. How are we going to just love on each other? Because that's what this is all about. You should have no regrets, because the greater point of this, I think, and it's so, I don't want to say it the wrong way to our listeners, but we don't really matter. None of this matters. Like, it's so minute, minuscule. None of this matters. And I say it a lot, Justin. Shut the TV off. Shut the radio off. Even if I shut this phone off right now, Justin, I can hear a little bird, because it's the beginning of spring outside, and it's not the polar vortex today. We actually are in not a negative weather. I can hear the birds. I can hear the stillness in the air, like sometimes you get the zzz of the wires and all these little things. And that's it. See, but if I turn on my news, there's a huge war going on right now. If you go turn on your news, if you turn on this, if you call your kids, they'll have a problem. If you call cousin Sally Sue, she'll have something. If you look at your bank account, if you do all of these things, then yes, there's a lot of problems. But if you get into the great reality And that's what this is about, friend who wrote in about regret. It's not remembering what you've done that's bad. The book asks us to remember that you've tapped power. The book has asked us to remember that you are a child of God. The book has asked us to remember that when you complain, when you regret, when you get into anything other than love and present moment, you're not with God. Does that make sense, Justin? It's very radical.
It does. And kind of what you shared, these, what we do today, with our self will means nothing. Nothing will ever it's not going to have a lasting effect in the world. I want to my mind went here, and I hesitate to share this, but I'm going to do it because it was such a powerful thing for me yesterday. Yesterday, I'm sitting there in church, and things are about ready to start, like less than a minute before we're supposed to start. And this little sweet old woman that I haven't seen in a few months came hobbling in. She was just shuffling in, and the voice in my head said, "Stand up and go give her a hug." I'm like battling it in my mind. And I was like, no, I'm going to do it. And I stood up and I started walking towards her. And as soon as she saw me coming, this massive smile, this painful face turned into this massive smile. And I walked over to her, and she just fell into my arms and it was the most amazing connecting moment. Now, I have no premonition of anything here, but she could pass any day. And if that were to happen, and I were to look back and say, I did not stand up and go give this woman a hug when I had that feeling to do so, that would be a regret. And is anybody going to remember that moment other than her and me ever? Probably not. But for that moment, she was worth my time, and I was worth hers. And it was a really powerful thing. And I think that goes along with this regret. There are things that we can't undo. There are opportunities that I've missed that I've had situations where I didn't act on those things, and I have those regrets, but I can move forward because one more of those promises. God does for us that which we cannot do for ourselves. God is doing for us that what we could not do for ourselves. He can make things right. His plan for you, for me, for whatever is not going to be frustrated just because I'm an idiot and I'm selfish. But that just kind of once again, I don't know why I shared that, but I just felt it was important to do that in this setting. So, anyways, Nikki, any other final thoughts before we wrap this up?
I know why you shared it, because I don't want regrets. I'm going to get off the phone and text my daughter and tell her I love her. She lives in another country. I don't want any regrets. I'm going to text the people I love today or send a message. I don't want, that's the regrets I don't want. I don't care that I've ruined a marriage and I've done these things in my deep addiction, and I've hurt and thrown out my son. That's okay. That happened, and I'm dealing with it. But I don't want the regret of not telling, like you just said, that little old lady in church. And when I was going to church, I've kind of paused on it this moment, but we always had little old lady come in late, right? But it's like, and yeah, you need to stop for those moments. Love on these people. This is what it's about. We got to get to the time. We're going to be late if I go back and give grandma one last hug. I've seen that. I watched these near-death experience things, and one woman said that there was an inkling in her, some feeling in her, and she went back to give a hug to her mother. It was the last hug. You see, I don't want those regrets. Thank you for bringing that up. This is a different little episode. I don't know where we went because my mind's a little bit everywhere today, but it was yeah, I don't regret my past at all. I just don't want to regret loving the people the right way that I need to love. I don't want to regret not showing up for my fellowship when I know, even if I don't do it perfect, I'm doing it. I don't want to have those kind of regrets, because it's earth school and life gets lifey, and I'm not going to do this perfect. Remember, everybody, page 60, we need the big book here. It says, we are not saints. We grow along spiritual lines. So I just want to remember that. And I don't have any regrets, because for my research, and anything I repeat here, everybody, or say here, it's nothing new. I've been taught these things. I'm just regurgitating. But there's only one person that I've ever heard that's like pretty perfect. Yeshua, if anybody knows about that person. I'm sure there's other religious leaders that do pretty perfect, but I mean, they're even saying things about Mother Teresa today. So who knows what they're going to say about Nikki M when I'm dead? I don't know, Justin. I'm just so grateful. I have no regrets today, and I'm certainly not going to have any this week because I'm going to make sure I tell everyone what they mean to me. Thank you, Justin.
Yeah, thank you, Nikki. And yeah, while this conversation morphed, it went exactly where God wants it to go, I think. So everybody, as we discuss this, let's live in a manner where the regrets of the past become strengths, and where we don't have regrets of the present and the future, because we are striving to do what we feel God is leading us to do. Keep coming back, work it, because you are worth it.